YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Time for another Lei labbing session. I labbed Lei a long time ago. Again, with Brian. But, yeah, it's Lei, you know. You can never lab this guy enough. I'm gonna be honest. Because this man, he's so good. I won't be able to lab him, like, perfectly because I'm not a Lei player. And, for example, I won't be able to do something like this kind of cancels very well, right? I won't be able to do that. And this has a lot of its own mix-ups. And Lei also has a back-turned clean hit hell sweep. So it has like its own mind games when it comes to this. Right? So you have to be very careful about that. But if you want to like a full Lei labbing session, someone like a Lei expert or a Lei player will be pretty good for that. But other than that, I'll try to lab him as much as I can. Like things like Razor Rush, which is, you know, pretty important for Lei. You have to know something like that. His 10 frame Punisher, his Tiger stance. That's not a Tiger stance, it's a Panther stance. But this is also important. This stance and the Tiger stance. How's the Tiger one? Bruh, do the Tiger one. There you go. This one. This is very important. So those are like those two stances are the ones you have to know. The Dragon stance is also kind of good, and this one you have to know more or less all the stances, but I'll just cover the most important ones and the good pokes and stuff like that. So for now, like general game plan, as Kazumi, I think your game plan works quite well against Lei, because your game plan is to poke the Lei player with a lot of jabs, down forward to ones, catch down magic fours. So down forward to one is very good. The jab and magic four becomes much riskier because they can avoid it with a lot of you know, Lei bullshit, basically. But if you down forward 1 a lot and just check him with that, it can be pretty good with like down forward 4 maybe, down forward 1 checks, down forward 3, you know, mid checks basically. It can be good to make the Lei player panic a bit, and while you're like down forward 1 stepping, they can make a mistake basically. And something like Lei's down forward 1, while it may be good, it's not used that much because you know, it's a little bit iffy. Although I think Lei's down forward 1 is a bit underrated because it does track very well. You guys can see this, right? Kazumi cannot sidestep it, even though Kazumi can, you know, sidestep a lot of stuff. Her movement is pretty good. But the thing about this down forward 1 is its range. That's why they don't use it that much. So something like a backdash will be able to sometimes evade it, right? Not all the time, but that's why they don't use it. So something like down forward 1, backdashing works, and in general backdashing is a pretty good idea against Lei. Instead of stepping, because he also has this down forward 3, which was very good, right? I think this is the tracking move. I'm pretty sure. Which is a safe mid, right? It's -10, but you can't really punish it. Maybe Gigas can, but yeah, Kazumi can't. So it's very good, tracking mid, safe, and it's a wall splat. So if you're at the wall, it will wall splat you in the correct angle, of course. So be very careful when it comes to stepping Lei. He does have options for steppers. But yeah, in the neutral, though, if like you're just playing like this, if you're step blocking a lot, that can work very well. But forward 3, just like Siren said, is one of the things that you can be a little bit afraid of. Like if they backdash a lot and you try to step at the wrong time, you just get hit, right? Like that. So be very careful when it comes to that, because this has amazing tracking. I can't sidewalk it, more or less. You can sidewalk to the left, but it's inconsistent, it still hits you. That's why sidestep blocking is so good. Since that's a little bit slow than normal, if you sidestep block, you'll be able to block it. But since we're on this, let's talk about how we punish it. Kool-Aid, hello. Yeah, it's speed lap time. So this, if I remember correctly, is a 3-way mix-up. It's either 3 or 2-way mix-up, but I'm pretty sure it's a 3-way mix-up. Maybe it's 2. Actually, let's just check. We're here anyway. So 1 is the forward 3, just like that. Oh, it's a 3-way mix-up, okay. But with back turned. If they hold back, this becomes -8 instead of -14. Like exactly like this. And then you can punish it, of course, because they're back there that they can turn around. And you actually still can use 14 frame moves to punish this. Right? So even the normal one, just like this, if you do 1+2, it will punish both. The back turned version and the normal version. So it's still -14, even though they're back there and it's -8. It still works, basically. But the mix-up comes with this. The high. If you do a 1+2, you are gonna get hit. There are some option select options if you high crush, like something like dick jab, for example. Or if you have a, I don't know, high crushing 14 framer, maybe, if you do, that can work. Something like dick jab or down 2 can work. It's an option select. But of course, if you want high reward, you duck it. It's a high. Oh, and the very weird shit about this is that this is unsafe. This shit. It's actually unsafe. Sometimes this won't reach. But it's -13 normally. It can become -12 as well. Even the high is unsafe. Damn, didn't reach there. But yeah, it is unsafe. If you're like, what's the word? Aware enough, you'll be able to punish this. Like Kazumi 1+2 can reach. Yeah, down for 1 reaches. Damn. Look at that. Bruh. Good shit. But yeah, even the high is punishable. Would jet upper work? Jet upper is 14. It won't work there. So both of them are punishable. So if something like that happens at the wall, like they do 4-4-3, this at the wall, this is 100% punishable. You don't even think about it, just punish it. Right? I think not a lot of people know the high is punishable. Because not a lot of people can punish it. You need a semi-long range move for that. Up forward 2 is an option select. How fast up forward 2? Oh! It is 14. Then it might be an option select, yes. Yep. That's an option select. That's a good option select, Siren. I like that. It avoids the high. Punishes it because it's -14. I like that. Pretty good. Pretty good option select. I would normally do that if I have enough awareness, but it's still good to know that the second hit is, you know, punishable. You can punish it. Okay, so that's about 4-4-3 more or less. Of course, if you get hit, GG, well played, you're gonna get launched into a mix-up, stuff like that. Be very careful when it comes to that. And in the neutral, lay players do like doing this kind of stuff, right? Make you whiff, or go into stance manually, something like this. Not this one. This one. I don't know how to move with lay on pad, I'm gonna be honest. But let's talk about the tiger stance, because that's the most common stance they go for in the neutral, right? They either go for this stance, which is the tiger stance, or the panther stance, which is this one. These are his mix-up stances, basically. So let's talk about the tiger one first, and then the panther one. So this, the mix-up he has is either this sweep, the tiger sweep. Oh god. This sweep, which is a normal hit launcher, 15 frames, no way to react to it. Million range, right? Can't drill and backdash it. I would not recommend backdashing it. So this is a mix-up, and usually they will mix up with either 2-2, this, which is kind of hit confirmable. Sometimes you can hit confirm it. Or they can mix it up with something like this, which is safer. Tiger 1. And let's talk about these options, right? So when it comes to this sweep, of course backdashing is not really an option, because it has so much range. Like that. Even there it reached. So backdashing is already off the window, right? More or less. Let's talk about sidestepping. It is a little bit weak to stepping, but it can also track. Even though it's weak to sidestep left, like that, there are situations where it might track it. Like you can sidewalk it like this, right? It's possible. Especially with Kazumi. Kazumi has a very good movement. And sidewalk left, even a little bit of a step can work, but just have to time it correctly. So the weakness it does have is going to the left, but try sidewalking more than sidestepping, because it has a little bit of a tracking. That's very good to know. But then comes this move. And if they're close enough, if you sidestep, this will actually track you. Very hello. So Tiger 2 has very, very good tracking to the left, as you guys can see. You can step it to the right, but it doesn't really matter because the hell sweep tracks to the right. So basic game plan is, if you're far enough for the mid, like this mid, sidestepping left can work. But if you're close, this can catch you. And you know, hit confirm, launch. But the thing about this move, these moves, that not a lot of people know, I talked about this in my previous 3 lab as well, I'll talk about it here, is that just this, for example, Tiger 2, is minus 14. When I labbed Brian versus Lei, I was talking about this, that the Brian can jet up for just this. If they don't continue this, Brian can jet up for this. And I think Kazumi still gets an option select with that. I'm not sure. Let me check. I'm not sure. I've never checked this before. So 2-2. Let me see. Nope, no option select. You get countered. But yeah, it's a mind game. So this is punishable minus 14. You can punish it. Right? I don't know what's a good punish for Kazumi. It's minus 14. I think down forward 1-2 is her best one, right? If you guess that they're not gonna finish it, you can of course punish it. And if you guess that they're gonna finish it, you can just, you know, duck and launch it. But you can also option select it. Never mind, you cannot option select it. If they delay it, you can option select it. Like if they do this, you can do a deck jab. Right? Something like this. Not a jab, but anything that high crushes you can do. But if they don't delay it, no option select. My bad. But yeah, it's a mind game. You have to guess if they're gonna finish this or not. And of course, you know, normal combo. Good shit, that was a good combo. But yeah, that's very, very good to know about the string. Of course, as I said, you can't sidestep it. You can only sidestep to the right, but it's not worth it. Because this tracks to the right. So it's still a little bit better to sidestep to the left than to the right. Because of this move. I hate this move. As a Kazuya player who needs to wave dash for a mix-up, who needs to, you know, time it and stuff like that, having something like this, literally a one button, 4, right? Go to Tiger and 4. Take that. Yeah, sidestep left block can be very good, but you have to be careful because if you don't do it correctly, this is so fast it can still clip you. And now let's talk about Tiger 1, which is the other mid mix-up. And the thing is, when they use this one, if you do sidestep left, this will also whiff. So sidestep left against Tiger is generally not bad. It can be pretty good. But this shit recovers very quickly. Be very careful when it comes to punishing this. Recovers pretty quick. But you can still punish it, of course. With something like that. Oh god. It has a bit of tracking, but most of the time you'll be able to step it. Well, let's talk about the situation on block though, for that one. So this is also a mid mix-up for the hell sweep. And the interesting part is, it's the same on block as it does on hit. So it's +2 for Lei on hit, like that. Your forced crouch. And it's exactly the same on block. It is plus. So be very careful when it comes to pressing after this. But it's not that much plus. Even on hit, even on block, it's only +2. And sometimes you can disrespect it. It's not that big a deal to disrespect it. Oh, and it is a countered launcher. Yeah, I almost forgot to mention that. This move. Because of course this is the DLC character, what are you talking about? In mid, that's not a countered launcher and they're DLC? No way. Yeah, it's a DLC character, man. Countered launcher. Be very, very careful when it comes to that. So pressing into Tiger, depending on the situation, can be good, but depending on some other situation, can be bad. He needs it, of course. Of course he does. It's Lei, he needs it. So that's more or less about Tiger. That's like the more general moves, most common moves they use. I mean, some Lei players also use this, the Tiger 3, as a mid mix-up, especially the wall if they want a wall splat. I guess let's talk about this as well. The thing about this is it has a mind game. So it's normally -12. It can become -11 or -10. So it's it's better to 1-1-2, but it has a mind game. Wait. I think he can go into a stance after this. Hold down maybe, something like that. I may be remembering the wrong thing. Like normally it's punishable, but I think he can go into a stance. Like relax or something like that. Hold down, okay. No, hold down doesn't work. I'm pretty sure he can, I just forgot the input. Yeah, he can go into sit. That's how I remember it too. But most of the time, they won't go into sit when they use it, because when they use it, they want the wall splat. So it is normally punishable. I don't remember how it goes into sit, I have to be honest. I know it does, but I don't know how to do it, the input. Mash? Doesn't work. Yeah, no, doesn't work. But yeah, he can go into a sitting stance which high crushes, so be a little bit careful. I won't be able to showcase it because I really don't remember the input. Maybe see it here. Tiger, 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 tiger. There we go. Forward 1. Okay, there we go. I think I hold forward maybe. Yeah, hold forward. Okay, there we go. That's what I was talking about. So let's talk about that as well. That's like a mind game situation. Because normally you want to 1-1-2 that, right? But because of this, it won't reach. And since it's also -11 most of the time, you won't be able to 1+2 as an option select. So the option select you do go for is like a dick jab. Well, that's not a dick jab, that's a down one. Which works pretty well. And Kazumi can do a dick jab into while staying 4-4 into a combo, right? In that situation. So a dick jab option select can really work pretty well. Okay. So be a little bit careful about that. They might go into sit or not, but the dick jab option select beats both of them. I think that's about it for Tiger. And like this is also a thing, but you so rarely see it. I don't think it's even worth talking about. This one right here. So this is a wall bounce, mid wall bounce, but slow. It's a safe mid wall bounce. It is good. But the reason they don't use it is it's because it's linear, it's slow, but it's decent, I guess. But it doesn't work as a mix-up because of how slow it is. Okay, now let's talk about Panther stance, this one. This stance is also one of the mix-up stances you have to know about. So this is a Panther stance, and the most common moves you see to mix you up is either this as a mid mix-up, or how do you do the low? I think 1, right? There you go. This is a low mix-up. This is the most common ones. They can also use this as a low, but you won't see this as much. Most likely you will see this. So let's talk about those. So when they are in Panther, they have to get close to mix you up, so they need to be in close range. Unlike Tiger, which reaches you from Narnia like this, you know, very, very big range. Even Wansang 2, not Wansang 2. Tiger 2 has decent range, it's not that bad. And the thing about Panther is they have to be close. So something like this won't reach it too far away. So that's very good to think about. Panther stance, they have to be close to mix you up. But if they are close, they get a good mix-up. So something like this is a low mix-up. Like this one. And it doesn't have much weaknesses because, you know, it's that fast. How fast is it? 12. It's 12 frames fast. So you can't really sidestep it. Even if you see it coming, they're close and you see it coming, you try to sidewalk, you won't be able to sidestep it. Basically tracking. If you try to backdash if they're already close, it won't work. But if they're a little bit further away, backdashing is a good idea. Like, just backdash a lot. Maybe it will whiff. And of course, it is launch punishable. It's not only launched -32. If they do the full one. So, something like a delayed hop will work. Wait. Like that. But then comes the good players. The good Lei players. They might do just this, which is the problem. The problematic Lei players are always the ones that do this for me. If they do this, just this, it's -12. Without the high. Of course, the reward isn't as big. It's only 12 damage. But the Lei player is still +3. But at least you don't get knocked down for like 20 something damage, right? But without the high, you can't launch it. While staying 1-2 is your punish. So you have to be very, very careful when it comes to that. Of course, we can while staying 1-2 both of them, but you're going to be missing out on a lot of damage if they do use this and you while staying 1-2 instead of launch it, right? But still can be safer than, you know, not punishing the other one correctly, which is the -12 one. You like to challenge Panther? Yeah, challenging Panther is also a decent idea. Because I think the Lei player can move really well. I can't move that well on pad. I'm not sure how to do it. With back cancels, maybe something like that. But the Lei player can move very, very fast in that stance. So backdashing can be a little bit of an issue. So challenging it isn't that bad of an idea. But be careful of how you challenge it. Because this move has a little bit of high crushing sometimes. So if you do jab, it can sometimes crush it. Like something like this can crush it. This one. But be a bit careful. Let me try to recreate it. There we go. The jab crush. I think Magic 4 crush as well. Yeah, high crush. So if you check with the mid like a down forward one, it's like your go-to. So be a little bit careful about that. Of course, if they go for a mid like this one, I think even this has jab crushing. A little bit less, but I think it has one. Maybe it's my Kazuya jab that gets crushed for no reason. Okay, never mind. But yeah, now this is the mid mix-up. The mid mix-up they use is this, which is a normal hit launcher. You can, of course, not step it. I think you can step to one direction, yep. To the left, but since you can't step the low anyway, it's not worth stepping it. And the biggest thing about it all is that it's only -10. Flashback to Horank's Flamingo back 3. Basically same thing. It's -10. Normal hit launcher. So that's very, very good to know. They can also use this as a low mix-up, which is a 3. And let's see the... oh god. Properties on this. So this is a jumping move. And the jumping moves, you know, do low crush. So you won't be able to do a low here. I think a dick jab won't work either. There you go. It is steppable. But as I said, the one option basically tracks. So stepping is a weird idea. But if you do step to the right, you will be able to avoid both this and both the 2 option. On hit, you're actually plus. So if you do a Magic 4 here, that's basically a frame trap, right? Basically. It can be pretty decent. Or jab. It can work. Or dick jab. And it's -12. So Kazumi, for example, can 4-4 while staying 1-2. While staying 1-2 is a great punish as a Kazumi player because -12 is more or less common in the game, believe it or not. So that's more what we should talk about with Panther, more or less. But since we talked about these 2 stances, let's talk about the most common transitions into them. So the Panther transition is after 3 hits of Razor Rush. So 1, 2, 3, sidestep Panther, right? That's one of the most common ways that Lei players go into Panther. Just, you know, do 3 hits, sidestep, Panther, mix up. If you, of course, respect it, they're gonna go for a mix-up. That's why one of the best things to do against Razor Rush is check it. See that they're stepping, and just check it. Do not let them mix you up. Under no circumstances. But as I said, be careful of what you press. Something like jab or Magic 4 can whiff because of high crushing of Panther. And the most common transition for Tiger is 4 hits of Razor Rush into Tiger. So 1, 2, 3, 4 goes into Tiger stance. You can check this as well, like that. But be careful about reacting to this. So if you react to it a little bit late, for example, you try to react to it a little bit late, you may get caught. So be a bit careful. But as I said, don't use highs. For the love of God, don't use highs here, because you know that hell sweep, high crushes. High crushing hell sweep, am I right? But one of the options, if you don't react correctly, is the 4. Like if you try to spam down forward 1, for example, you might get hit by this. And the worst case scenario, you might get hit by the low. Because if you just mash, you will get counter launched by the low. But since we are talking about this, the low is launch punishable. Even Kazumi can launch it. Wait, I think you need to hop kick it though. Never mind. Kazumi cannot launch it. Fuck this character, what the fuck? I thought this was 17. Yeah, it's minus 17, but Kazumi can't launch it. Damn, that sucks. I think wall standing 3 works, wall standing 4 works, wall standing 1 most likely will whiff. Yeah, wall standing 1 whiffs. So those are your punishments. Even that's 18. But yeah, it's minus 17, that's good to know. Wall standing 3, wall standing 4 still works. They have an option that will sidestep your check too. Crouch cancel 3-2. It can work actually. Wait, let me try that. Yeah, that could work. Crouch cancel 3-2. Messed up. If you messed up, you get wall standing 3 anyway. Better than nothing, I guess. Anna can't too. Yeah, Anna can't launch that either. Maybe if you crouch cancel with something, maybe 4-4-3 can. Could be worth trying. Yeah, I think it could be worth trying because if you messed up, you get a wall standing 3, which is a punish anyway. Could be worth. But yeah, they don't really have an option that will sidestep your check if you do a good check. Unless they do like something like this into another transition, which is a bit slow. They might have it, I'm not too sure. I'm not a lay player, as I already said. But most of the time, if they do sidestep it, they will go into another stance, which won't be as scary. Although you might still, you know, get hit. So those are like the most common transitions in those 2 stances. Of course, if they do 2, they'll transition to another stance, which is dragon. This is the dragon stance. If they do 1, they're gonna go into snake. But this is like, it never happens. No one just does a 1 hit of Razor Rush in transitions. Almost no one. Even though it's not that bad to do, I don't see this done almost at all. Even though it's pretty hard to say because I almost never see not heart. Why am I saying heart? I never see lay players. Okay, now let's talk about the punishment mix-up he has. The 1-1 and snake stance too. Not 2, just snake stance in general. This stance. 1-1 automatically transition into snake stance. So we're gonna talk about it with this transition in mind. So 1-1 is a 10 frame punish that transitions into the stance, and he is plus 6 after it, and you're basically in a mix. Can't really press anything here. So the mix-up here is very, very simple. When you get punished by 1-1, you might imagine you do a hop kick, like you panic hop kick, they blocked it, and they do the 1-1 punisher. Now they're in stance, and then you're in a mix-up. The biggest mix-up is 4-1, which is snake 4-1, like that. Which also transitions to tiger, which is very annoying, right? Or 2-2, which is the mid option they have. So you either duck that, the low-high, or get hit by the mid 2-2. So let's discuss those options. So 1-1, 4-1, of course that's a low-high. If you get hit, you can duck this, and you can launch it. Right? If you guess correctly, that's a low into a high, you can launch it. Some lay players, the good ones, may do just this. But just that isn't that scary. So just this is minus 13. It's not launch, but it's not as scary. Build very shallow. And about 2-2. Oh, and one more thing, you can't sidestep there. Oh god damn it, it's 4-1. Like this, if you try to sidestep, it won't work. It will not work. Oh, AL, thank you for the subscription, man. Big thank you for the Prime subscription as well. Good lay players don't use that string. No, they do. They still do. It's that good. Because it is a mix-up, right? This is an actual mix-up. Can't really do anything about it. It's a mix-up. It's a risk, of course, but sometimes they can take it. So they do this, And if you get hit by it, you get strong, right? You don't want to get hit by the mid, you're not ducking. Get hit by this, they're in Tiger Stance. And we already talked about Tiger Stance, right? With this and this. But the unique thing about this, so this into Tiger, into 4, let's see this. This one into 4, you can't sidestep here. I talked about Tiger Stance, this hell sweep, you can normally sidestep and sidewalk to the left. But in this situation, you're in that much minus that you cannot do it. So this, bomb, bomb, you're kind of in a guessing situation, more or less. So this, you gotta guess. If you didn't guess correctly the first time, you gotta guess again. Because they can just do this into a confirm. If you duck, or if you don't duck, they can hell sweep you, because you can't really sidestep or do anything about that. Of course, you can like maybe jump to hop kick against the hell sweep, and if they do 2-2, the damage won't be as much. Even though it will still screw you, it won't be as much. But as I said, more or less still a mix-up. Now let's talk about Snake. Snake, there you go, Snake. Snake 2-2, which is the mid option they go for. This into Dragon. Like, they normally never just go for that. They always go for Dragon Stance and continue pressure. So this 2-2 Dragon. So normally, without the Dragon Stance, if I remember correctly, that is punishable, but they never go for just 2-2. Because, you know, why would they? 2-2. Yep, it's minus 12. Normally it's punishable, like minus 12, but they never go for just this. They will do Dragon Stance into minus 4, and most likely they'll continue their pressure. But the one thing you also have to consider is the low. 2-2-2, right? This low right here. So the mix-up, it's a kind of a mind game. Even though the low is very punishable, it's minus 17. Hop kick, please. Okay. So even Kazumi can punish it with a hop kick. Right? It's still more or less a mind game. So if you get countered by this, it's not that big a deal, but it's still a mind game that, you know, you can't really do anything about. Have to guess correctly. That's an easy hit confirm. Yeah, of course. They can also hit confirm it. Oh god. I always forget the notation sometimes. Lei, man. So if you get hit by this, it's just, you know, confirmable. You can't duck it. Even though I delayed the low so much, right? Natural hit combo. You can't really duck this. Even though I think that's bullshit. It should not be natural hit in my opinion. It should be, the last hit should be duckable. It makes sense for it to be duckable, but it's not. It is what it is. Okay. So Lei Snake stance can be very, very good because of that. But let's talk about the transition, right? Oh god. 2-2 Dragon transition. These stance transitions are stuff you have to remember, but it's so much shit you have to keep in your head when you're playing against this character. Of course, when you play him, that's also the same, but when you play him, it's a little bit different because you kind of have to remember those stuff to, you know, play the character. So Dragon transition. How's Dragon? There we go. So the most common move is Dragon 2. That's the most common one that they use in Dragon. Dragon's not a common stance in general. The other three are much more common. But they either use Dragon 2 or Dragon 4 to counter at you. These two are the most common ones. This has a string. I forgot the notation. Wait. 4-1-2 or something like that. 4-1-2-3. Yep, this one. This is all countered. So something like this. Let me try to do this. 2-2. So this 2-2. Something like this. Can be pretty common. Did I not record that? God damn it! I did not record that. Fucking hell. This. Fuck! I messed up. I hate Blaze notations. Placeholder, thank you for following. There we go. I think I recorded that. So you get hit, you duck that, and you try to punish, or try to mash. Even in this situation, you can't get counter hit, so be very careful. It's only -4 if you delay your jab, for example, instead of instantly pressing it. Like, let's say delay my magic forward. This is all guaranteed. This is countered. And at the wall, you're gonna get wall splatted to 1,000,000 damage. Of course, you don't press anything. You can duck this and launch it. The last is a high. But they can also hit confirm this and not do the high. So what I'm talking about is they can do this. So not finish the high, because you know they can confirm if it's a counter hit or not. Good late players will be able to do that. Oh god. So then comes the situation of just this, which is -10. Which is also dumb, but I don't know why this is -10, but at least it's punishable. But this is still a mind game. If they continue, they're gonna get hit. But what I don't remember is, I'm gonna be honest, if it's a countered launcher or not. I don't think it is. This last hit right here. I'm pretty sure it's not. It's just a knockdown. Yeah, it's just a knockdown. So be very careful when it comes to that. And then about Dragon 2. So imagine the same kind of situation. Oh, they can cancel it? Okay. I didn't remember correctly about that. It's Lei, man, as I said. It's a good thing I have a Lei player in chat. That's why I said at the start to ask a Lei player about some stuff, because I don't know literally everything. Oh, and let's talk about Dragon 2, and let's go back to that string. The forward one. Wait. So this 2-2 Dragon 2, this is also common. And the good thing about this is Dragon 2 sometimes high crushes. I'm pretty sure it will high crush some of my Kazuya jabs. Sometimes. I'm not sure if Kazumi's jabs will get high crushed, but sometimes it does high crush. But the good thing about this move is it's fast, right? It's 17. It's not that slow, but it's not that fast either, I guess. But the good thing about it is it's +4 for Lei. And it's a counter launcher. But if you do sidestep, it can work. His dragon stance goes under highs. Yeah, that's why some of my jabs whiff. But yeah, you can sidestep this, for example. But if you sidestep, you also take the risk of Lei player just continuing their pressure. And now let's go back to the dragon stance move that the Bull Rage was talking about. This... You can cancel this, right? With forward? I can't cancel it. Maybe down? Not that one. Oh, press another 2. Thank you. Oh god. Oh, this right here. Another 2 and forward. Yeah, and string continuation. I almost forgot about that. That there's another string. If they want to go to counter, they'll most likely stop there. Like there's so much stuff to think about. If you want to like fully counter Lei, there's a lot of stuff to think about. So normally this is the string, right? Oh god. This into high. But there's also a mid variation there. When I said to duck it, there's also a mid variation there. I have to mention that. I just remembered it. It's always good to have a Lei player in chat, or that kind of player in chat when it's a complicated character for speed lab. So this into a 2. And this is basically the same string as this.
How'd that get in there?
Basically the same one. Oh, Toadslot, thank you for a subscription, man. Like, basically the same string here. So this... No, not this one. God damn it. This 2-2. Exactly the same. And the thing is, it exactly has the same kind of transition as well. Like in Snake 2-2, you can hold forward and cancel it. Exactly the same thing happens there. So 1-2-2-2, hold forward, goes back into Dragon. Exactly the same thing. And there's a low there as well, just like in Snake 2-2-2. And I think the frames are exactly the same too. So bum, 2-2. Oh, let me... God damn it. There we go. Exactly the same, -17 here as well. Oh. So yeah, the situation there like goes back to this. Exactly the same. So be very, very careful when it comes to that. If they want to counter it, most likely they will stop there, trying to confirm it, instead of going for the mid. Like instead of going for 2 here, if they want to counter it, they most likely will either go for the high or stop in the middle. But I don't think it's worth punishing it anymore. Like, it's not worth punishing. Just have to hold it. Most of the time. Well, let's talk about the situation when you hold it. I almost forgot about this. Because I think holding it is a pretty common option here. Let's talk about the situation when you hold it and you get hit by the high. Not hit. When you block the high. God. So this, bump. Oh god. Bum, 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 bum. So you block this, right? Normally you would be like, oh yeah, I'm +6, you can press. But Lei actually has strings after this. I think there are 2 variations he can do. There's a low after this, and I'm pretty sure there's a mid after this as well. I'm not sure about notation. Let me try to remember them. So, bum, 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 another 4 maybe. There you go, that's the mid, the 4 is the mid, and I think the 3 is the low. So you have to be careful about blocking that and pressing immediately after, because Lei actually has strings after it. So bum, 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 3. I mashed 4, that was my bad. This character, man. Aye! Yeah, I'm messing up. The 3. No, maybe it's 3 plus 4. I'm pretty sure there is a low. Aye! How's the low? Maybe it's down 4. These notations, man. Like, I know they exist, but I always forget about the notations. Down 4, there we go. Okay, my goodness. Yeah, there's way too much to cover for Lei. Like, way too much. This character, man. So yeah, if you try to, for example, check after this, like a down forward 1, you're gonna get hit. If you try fast check like a jab, it won't work because it high crushes. So be very careful. Of course, if you duck, it can work, but it's not that much minus. If you do guess this, low parrying it is the way to go. I think you can, yeah, you can't even parry it. Not parry, step it. So be very, very careful. It's kind of bullshit in a way. Of course you can duck that high, but it's a mix-up which I already talked about. And the mid, let's talk about the mid as well. Fucking hell. There we go. This mid. Like, it can work as a sort of a mix-up for that low. Like if you low parry, you're gonna get hit. But at least not a knockdown or anything like that. Oh, and you can sidestep this. I think a sidestep low parry might be an option select here. So sidestep right low parry. That will beat both options. Or duck in general. So be a little bit careful when it comes to that. This strings, man. Holy hell. Okay, I talked about those stuff. I talked about 4-4-3 more or less. Yeah, 4-3-1. This move, it's not that much to talk about. You have to duck the second hit. You just have to get used to it. But when Lei players do just this to make you duck, like this, right? It becomes a sort of mind game, but it's not that big a deal if you just duck into while staying forward, because they don't have the frames to really do too much about this. Not to mention this is also punishable. That's 4-3-1. A lot of a little bit lower rank or even higher rank Lei players might use this and you abuse it. Yeah, 2-4. This is also one of the things you have to duck. It's a high string you have to know. Yeah, down forward 1 plus 2 tiger. Yeah, I almost forgot about that. This is also one of the pretty common transitions into tiger. One of the things you can do, of course, is check it, but checking it can be very risky as well. Because I'm pretty sure Lei can avoid the check. Can jump over if they try to do it instantly. Jump over. Oh, you mean the 4? This? Yeah. You mean jump over the health sweep, if that's what you mean. I don't think jumping over is a good idea, to be honest, because it's too existing. Like, if they do this into this, you can also check it. It's better to check it than jump over, like a while staying 4. But of course, while staying 4 is also risky. I think the Lei player can backdash away from while staying 4 in some situations and do this. I'm not quite sure, but he has options to evade the while staying 4. I'm not just quite sure what it is. So be careful of always checking, because it may, you know, work against you. But checking in general is not a bad idea, because they can also, of course, parry it like this, but, you know, it's not a parry that guarantees something, so it's not bad, it's fine. That confirm first hit? Yeah, the fun part about it is, even if you get hit, you can check a hell sweep. It's not that much plus. You can still catch a hell sweep. I think you can check literally everything with a while standing 4, even on hit, if they do it instantly. It's only +3. Usually Tiger 2. You can check Tiger 2 as well. See that? Unless you're delaying your while standing 4, you can check literally every option. It's +3, 15. You can check literally everything. But as I said, they players do have options against while standing 4 checks. On block and I think on hit as well, so be very, very careful. I'm not sure what the options are. Like, I don't remember the notation. I think they can sidestep it and then punish you for it, but they have options for it, so be a bit careful about that. Also, one of the common transitions is sidestep 1 into Tiger. It's a little bit less common, but it's also decently common, I guess. So it's a high, of course, that transitions to Tiger. And if they do an instant hell sweep, it will actually trade with a generic down forward 1, which is, you know, not the best of trades. So this is what I'm talking about. This, you do down forward 1, this will trade. Not the best of trades, right? You don't want this happening, because Lei gets a combo, you don't get shit. If you have a 12 frame mid, it can work really well. Like something like Fang's back 2, not back 2, back 4. Dragunov's down forward 4. What else? Down forward 4 of AK, something like that can work really well. So be a little bit careful about this. When they go into Tiger here, I think sidestepping left can be a very, very good idea, unless they do go for 2-2. So if you sidestep left, this will of course work, but if they do a hell sweep, you'll be able to avoid it. Let's try to do this into a hell sweep again. Damn. I can't sidestep block that. You have to sidewalk it. Yeah, that sucks. So it's a legit mix-up, more or less. Maybe something like that. That's hard to do. Yeah, I still get hit most of the time. The sidewalk block is hard to do. It's doable, but I wouldn't recommend it. Fuck, I messed up. Yeah, that's hard to do. Sidestepping can work really well against hell sweep. Instead of, you know, committing to a duck, it can work well, because it will also avoid the 1. Oh god. Not that. So if they do this, if you sidestep, that also will get avoided. The 2-2 is the only thing that will beat you, basically. This will avoid the hell sweep and the 1. Just be careful of the 2-2, but they also take risks if they do the 2-2. Rage Drive, yeah, I'll talk about Rage Drive a bit later. Rage Drive has like unique mind games because he has so many of them in each stance. But I always like save up Rage Drive and Rage situations for the end of the speed lap. Okay, what else? Yeah, Hell Sweep, of course. He does have a Hell Sweep. Be very, very careful about Hell Sweep in the neutral. It is a bit slow, it's 20. But you have to know it exists, be careful. Especially in these kind of angles when it gets a wall splat, right? Good late players will know when they get a wall splat and use it. And they can mix it up with something like this, which is a tracking mid, as I already talked about this. And this is a normal hit launcher as well, which I forgot how to launch, but it's a normal hit launcher on clean hit. So be careful about that. They might use 4-4-3 to mix you up with that, but yeah, it's their discretion on how to mix it up. If you can react to it, good, but it's really not that reactable, especially on tournament settings, and especially on PS4, right? If you can, good for you. If you can't, it's gonna be a little bit harder to deal with. Also, one of the most common low pokes they has is back 4, which is amazing. I love back 4. The back 4, down 4 in the neutral, and if they are back turned, down 1. These three are like one of the most common low pokes that you're ever gonna see. The strongest one I think is down 4 in my opinion. Down 4 is amazing. I love it. I love it. When I played Lei a little bit, this move was carrying me. I got Lei to Emperor, right? I got every character to Emperor, but this move was carrying me. It was so good. Back 4 is also really good. So this move has a kind of a mind game. It's just too much to talk about. My goodness. So down 4 has a kind of a mind game, because down 4 can transition into a stance. Snake stance, right there, like that. So transition into a stance, and if you respect it too much, as we already know about snake stance, I talked about it, they can go to this into an instant mix-up situation. You don't really want that. So kind of a mind game. You kind of are forced to check him more or less, right? But if you do check him, since this is such a good move with, you know, it's 0, a lot of distance from your opponent, that's what I want to say. It's 12 frames fast, and if you do check, the Lei player can very easily sidestep most of your checks. So be very, very careful about that. So when it comes to this, wait, this into snake and something like this, I didn't record, fucking hell. Instead of checking, maybe you can sometimes sidestep, but even that's a little bit iffy. Like sidestep ducking, to be more specific, to be a little bit safer. So yeah. Is it turning over? Why are they playing? Yeah, King of Fighters is one of the games they're doing it on. So we're waiting for the tournament to start. So be very careful about this. Checking is good, but not all the time. So something like this into sidestep down 4 too. If you check with a magic 4, for example, that will catch you, right? So it can be a little bit of a mind game, which is why I think down 4 is so strong. They covered 4-4-3, yeah, covered 4-4-3 early on. And this mix-ups, yep. Now let's do back 4. The back 4 is very good as well because of this back turn transition, which is +5. So back turn transition into this is basically a frame trap. If you press something, counter it. It's very, very good. So when I talked about the back turn down 1, it's so good because it's +5, right? +5 like this. It's a countered launcher. And it's only -12 if I remember correctly. Yep, -12. So back turn -6, basically -12. So Wasang 1-2 will punish it. But if you do 13 frame roll, it won't punish it. So be very, very careful. It's basically -12. Treat it as a -12 move. So this into that, very common. But then comes the other mix-up, which is the most common mid mix-up, is the 4. Back turn 4. This is like the most common one, because it can just spam it like this. So something like this into 4, if you low parry, it can be a thing. And you really won't be able to step it or anything. Maybe if you're on P2 you'll be able to step to the right, I'm not sure, but it's not worth it because you won't be able to step to low anyway. So yeah, this is their mid mix-up basically. And this has 2 transitions. Very important to know. So one transition is the mid, so back turn 4-3. If you do press after it, you might get countered, so, you know, mind game situation. It's -12, 1-2. This looks like it will high crush, by the way. I'm always a little bit weirded out whenever I use highs to punish that, but you can't use 1-2. It's -12. Works. And yeah, only -12. It is a bit cheap. And there's also a high, which, of course, you can duck it, even on hit, like this. It's duckable. But on counter hit, let me try to counter it. This is guaranteed. So it's a countered launcher. Ay! There you go. Like that. And I'm not sure if this is a countered launcher. Let me try it. Yeah, this is also a countered launcher. So do not mash, basically. I didn't remember exactly. I was pretty sure it was, but had to check. So basically, do not mash for that. That's countered launching. And yeah, it does not jail. No. Normally, it's not a normal hit combo. Thank Lord, right? But it's a bit of a mix-up. If you do duck this, you might get hit by the mid, right? But the thing is, the frames are very close, so fuzzing isn't the best option either. You can step if back turn 4 is blocked. Yeah, if back turn 4 is blocked, if this is blocked, you can of course step, but then the late player can just continue pressure. If you keep stepping, they can just pressure you with a lot of, you know, mids and stuff. So be very careful, very careful about this mind game. Because if they do this into this, for example, and you try to step it, this will catch you. Right? This is basically a tracking low. This is why this low is so damn good. It's a countered launching low that's minus 12. High crushes as well. So if you try to mash something like a high, even 1-2 you'll get countered launch. It's very good. Very, very good move. Back tier in the low. Very good. Be careful about this low. Very, very careful. Okay. What else did I talk about? Yeah, I talked about back 4, right? So back 4 also has a transition. I talked about back 4 into back turned. And of course you don't want to mash normally. But now it also has a mind game when it comes to unblock. Imagine you block this, you try to punish it. There's also a high coming up. So be a little bit careful. You have to stay ducking there. The Lei player might use this at the end of round situations. Be a bit careful. And instead didn't cover the minus frames. This is minus 12, like this. So you have to while staying 1-2 or while staying 4. And it's always minus 12, even if they go to back turn. But I think while staying 1-2 might whiff sometimes. Yep, like that. So it's always better to while staying 4-4. Secret tech? I don't know what secret tech you're talking about. Lei players have like a million secret techs. Right? Yeah, those are like the most common lows. There's also this, which is very cheesy. So I'll talk about this as well. And a lot of Lei players do this into instant low. And everyone gets countered by this, right? Because this, everyone thinks this is a lot of minus. It is not. So if you down forward 1, look, that trades. It's not a lot of minus at all. So you cannot do a down forward 1 check. This happens a lot. So be very careful. Of course sidestepping doesn't work. As I already said, that's basically a tracking low. But if you do expect it, you can do a sidestep low parry. I think that will avoid like a back 4 attempt and low parry this as well. But just be aware that this is only minus 1 and you can't even jab it because of high crushing. But if you expect the low, of course you can, you know, do some shit about it. Just be careful about that. What was the input that I did? I forgot. For fuck's sake. I'm forward 3 plus 4, there you go. So this into 4 might be a thing as well. But as I said, if you do a sidestep right, low parry, you'll avoid both options. Oh, I almost forgot. Lei also has a 4-4. This. But this is very, very slow. Even if you duck, you can actually fuzzy it. And I think you can also sidestep it. So you don't see this that much. Okay. So this move, be very careful. It's also a normal hit launcher. Right? This shit. Fuck. I forgot. I did a 4-3-2 instead of 1. So be a little bit careful. Okay. What else? Like, I could talk about Lei for literally 2 more hours because of this as well. Because this situation is so weird to predict. Some Lei players, good Lei players, will know when to use this to avoid a lot of stuff. And then mix you up, right? Either mix you up or punish you. So the good thing to know is whenever they are going down, they have a mix-up. Most of the time. There's a slight mix-up in one situation. But there's a low or a mid mix-up in almost all of them. I won't cover all of them because I'll literally take too many situations and too many stuff in general. That's why I said at the start to ask a damn Lei player. They're the ones that come up with this shit, right? Now there's a lot of situations when it comes to this. I don't know what it's called. Drunken stance, relaxed stance, whatever it's called. A lot of shit. Like this is a mid mix-up, for example, right? Which also wall splats. Although one thing to remember is that when it comes to these kind of mix-ups, most of the time sidestep blocking is pretty good to do. But be careful about the lows clipping you. They might clip you. Okay, well, let's talk about down forward 2. How did I forget down forward 2? So down forward 2 is one of the strongest neutral tools Lei also has. So Lei's down forward 2. Of course, it's a normal down forward 2, but its tracking is a little bit better than normal. So if you step to the left, it has full tracking. If you walk to the right, it will, of course, whiff. But if you step to the right, it will still hit you. Like that. So you have to commit to a sidewalk to the right. In general, sidewalk right against Lei is decent. But his down forward 2 is very, very good. Let me see if it high crushes. I think it has high crush frames. I'm not sure if Kazumi's jab will get high crushed. But I'm not quite sure. But yeah, down forward 2 is very, very good. Of course, normal hit launcher doesn't launch crouched, of course, thank God. And it's safe. Basically a keep out move, also a checking tool. Very, very good down forward 2. Be very careful when it comes to that. Best thing, of course, you can do against every down forward 2 is make it whiff and whiff punish it. But, of course, it's hard because down forward 2 is recovered very quickly. Like, that was not a punish. Wait. Let me hold it back after it. See that? Not a punish. Not a punish. So you have to be very quick. Down forward 2s recover like 2 frames slower than electrics do. Most of them. 2 or 1 frame. Something like that. So even them are... It's pretty hard to punish. They serve the same purpose when it comes to keep out. Just keep out down forward 2. Basically the same purpose as an electric. It will clip any kind of a counter hit attempt. It will clip any kind of dash attempt. And it will not work against duckers just like electrics, you know. More or less the same kind of purpose. But a little bit less tracking and a little bit less fast. I mean, depends how the Mishima player does in electric. But yeah, down forward 2, very, very good for Lei. Be careful about that. What else to talk about? I think the most common situations I did talk about. I think Rage is left. Is it possible to talk to me private? Yeah, sure. It is. You can talk to me on Discord. Although I actually don't have a Discord command right now, I should probably add it. I have a coaching command that tells my Discord. You can do that. I think exclamation mark coaching and my Discord will come up there. I should add a Discord command, I always forget. Message me there, basically. Okay. I think Rage, right? Then my head hurts. Fuck this character. Okay. Time for Rage. Different kind of situations. Can you send me your Discord? You can add me on Discord. Just type exclamation mark coaching. My Discord will literally come up there and add me. I don't need to add you, you can just add me. I'll add like a separate exclamation mark Discord command later. Can I write in chat? Sure. Oh, there you go. Toad Sloth just wrote it. That's my Discord right there. I'll add a separate command a little bit later. And thank you, Sloth. Thank you. Okay, so now let's talk about the Rage situation, which is a little bit different because Rage Lei has a bit more options. I forgot the inputs for it, so you have to be a little bit lenient. Okay, all of them are 1+4. Okay, good shit. Literally all stances are 1+4. So Tiger stance, the one I talked about, has a 14 frame move now. This one, right? A 14 frame normal hit launcher, which is a lot of plus. It's basically Tiger 1, but it's 2 frames faster and it's a normal hit launcher. And when it comes to that, the mind game situation changes in some situations like this one, right? So if you do this into that, for example, a down forward 1 won't be able to check him anymore. Or something like a 12 frame magic 4 will trade, even though, you know, 11 frame will work. Or a 12 frame check in general will trade, if I do a 12 framer. So the mind games are a little bit different. Be aware that Lei suddenly gets a 14 frame option, mid option, when he has Rage. And the mind games change accordingly. And when you block this, you're in the hella minus 15, minus 14. Don't even think about pressing here. Don't even think about it. So yeah, that's one thing to consider when it comes to Tiger mind games. And when it comes to Panther mind games, it's also very, very important to consider this one right here. So it's basically this move, but it becomes a launcher. Same speed, same everything, but it becomes a launcher. The important part to consider about this is it behaves exactly like the low high. But unlike that, the high is not duckable, but the whole thing is punishable. Minus 13 most of the time. It can also become minus 14, but most of the time it's minus 13. It can also become less minus, I'm gonna be honest. So maybe doing a 12 frame punish is the best option. But yeah, be careful about this. Very, very careful. These two are the most common ones. Of course, he also has a dragon one, which is also very, very good. So, hello. Good to see you. Right? You usually use that the wall. They go into Tiger. Use it. A lot of frames. Another mix-up. And of course, they also have it from Snake, which is also usually used at the wall for a wall splat. And they're very fast options with a lot of plus frames. But they can be stepped. Most of them. But because of how fast they are, they're a little bit iffy to step. But the most common ones you have to remember is the Tiger one, this one, which changes mind games in some situations. And the Panther one, this one, which makes the low option much more scarier, which will make you duck and more susceptible to this mix-up, right? The mid one. So be careful about that, but as long as you know about it and you know, try to guess in certain situations when you have to guess instead of getting hit for free, it's gonna be useful. Okay. What else to talk about? I think that's it for now, right? Oh, I forgot. Sidestep 4. I used this a lot when I was playing Lei as well. It's so good. What I did was use Sidestep Hell Sweep and mix it up with Sidestep 4 sometimes. So Sidestep 4 also one of the mid options Lei player has to mix you up. It's 21 frames. It's almost the same frames as a Hell Sweep. It's like 1 frame slower. It's a safe mid. And it's a normal hit launcher. Normal hit. There we go. I made that a counter. Normal hit launcher. So be a little bit careful. Of course you can step it like that. Both ways more or less. But you have to be very careful when it comes to getting schmixed. Because if you try to step after a sidestep, this will actually catch you. This is a homing hell sweep. More or less a homing hell sweep. You can sidewalk it like this. I think that's a Kazumi special right there, because Kazumi's sidewalk is so good. You can step it, but most of the time it's a homing hell sweep. Like this situation in practice mode is basically fake. I would not consider this a real thing. Most of the time it will crack you. You can step, never saw anyone stepping. Yeah, nah, dude. In a real game it won't happen. That's why I said I won't consider this in a real thing. I really doubt that will happen maybe once in every 1,000 games against a Lei player. Okay. 3-1 and 3-2. Sure, they're exactly the same, bro. But yeah, I think that's it. I'm sure there's like a million other things you can talk about Lei, but I said this like 5 times or 4 times. Ask a damn Lei player when it comes to the intricacies, because the intricacies is something I don't know, but most of the common stuff I did talk about, more or less anyway. But yeah, YouTube, thank you for watching. Big thank you guys. I'll see you guys later.